Hello guys, welcome yet to another video. On the last video, we created a new project in Android Studio and explained what each and every file that was important, the function of each and every file in Android Studio. So today I want us to do another thing that I have learned myself. We will create what you see on the screen, a very simple text and a button. So let's get into it. So the first thing you will do is go here to new and say create a new project. Click on empty activity, go to next, name, give the project name. I'll give mine simple project. You can give it any name that you wish. Everything else, leave it as it is for default and then finish. So, okay, we wait for it to generate. I'll expand this. You can minimize this Gradle part. Wait for the Gradle project to finish syncing. As we're waiting for it to finish syncing, I can explain some of these composables that you see. Composables in Android Studio is basically defines an UI. We will see in practice, but every defines an UI that is written in functions. You will understand it when we do it practically. Anytime you want to display a UI, let's say a text, you'll have to annotate like this at composable, then write the function that depicts that text. Okay, I'm going to wait for it. Okay, it's done. So the first thing we're going to do is delete all these. We don't need them. And also this function, we don't need it. Actually, I'll delete it from here. We don't need this. We'll create our own function. Delete this. Okay, let's do a preview, just for us to preview our work. Let's delete to build and refresh. So the first thing we have to annotate, because we want to build a UI at composable, right? And then we have to create that function. Let's name it basic. This function will carry what will be presented. In our case, we want to do a simple text and a button. So a function, it's not a complicated function, so it will not be carrying any arguments at the moment. So the next thing is, how do we write a text? But before we move on to that, I want us to see what we will be doing. So I'll create at preview. Now this will help us see what we are creating as we create it. We annotate at preview and we say show background is equals to true. We want to see the background. We want to see what we are doing. It's also an at composable because it's a UI, right? And then we have to create a function. Say let's call it basic preview. Not carrying any arguments. So this basic preview we'll call the function that we will write our composables in. So the first component that we want to write is a basic text. This is how a text is written in Android Studio. It's a composable, so we just write it like that. And in here, we get to do, there's a lot of things that you can do in here, but today we just want to display a very simple text. It's equals to hi there. So that's how you write a text in Android Studio. As you can see, it's already displaying there because this function has a preview down here and we've called that function. So any component that you're going to write here is going to be previewed here. That's why I say this preview is important, so that you can be able to see what we're doing as we're actually doing it. So the next thing, it's as simple as that to display as text. We move on to button. Now for a button, it's a little bit more complicated. For a button, you have to create an on click. For now, we don't have to give it anything. We will look at that later. In coming videos, we will see how we can give it functionalities, and we will make use of this on click functionality here. But for today, we're just going to leave it like that. And in between the curly braces, we are going to put a text that we want it to say is equals to, okay, why is it complaining? Let me see. Input property text. Yeah, just as you are writing text up here, it applies the same at the button's place. Okay, so here is our preview, but there is many flaws to this. We have our text and we have our button created, right? But now one is behind the other. So how do we solve this problem? There is something in Jetpack Compose called column rows. In our case here, I would like us to use a column for one to stack on top of the other, right? So that we have our text here and our button down here, right? So we will call another component a column. What this will do, it will arrange the components inside this column to be one after the other. Okay. Yeah. You see it has already done it. So there's another problem. The other problem is that we want it to occupy the full width that it can. Right now it is only taking the space that is taken by the button and the text, but we want it to cover the whole width that it can. So inside the curly braces, the normal brackets, this is where you can modify your column. And how do we do that? We call something called modifier is equals to modifier equals to modifier. I'm writing that bar. That is not how I wanted to write it. Okay. Yeah, it was actually supposed to be written in small, not caps. That what we were writing earlier. Modifier is equals to modifier. The first one starts with a small, then the next one starts with a capital letter. Fire dot. After you say dot, there's a lot of things you can do to modify your column. You can fill max size, padding, height, whatever suits you. But for today, we will use fill max width because that's what serves our purpose. And as you can see, it has already filled the whole space. We are near, but we are not yet there. We want these two components to come at the middle. So how do we do that? We yet again use our column. So for these ones, we don't need to use a modifier. So we'll just press our column to conclude it. And we're just going to write two very basic codes that center everything to the center of the components inside the parent, which for us it's the text and the button. So let's go arrangement is equals to arrangements dot center, yeah, comma, we're not yet done, Okay, you see that takes it to the center, but it's all the way to the corner, but we want it at actually the center. So we're just going to write another one. Horizontal alignment is equals to alignment dot center horizontally, so that these two will take everything inside the column to the center. So there we go, we have it. We have our very simple text and button. So in our next video we will see how we can actually bump up the version of this, make the button clickable, and for it to do something, add something.